One, two, three, one, two, three. Si alguien en la audiencia, en el público requiere unos audífonos para traducción al español, por favor levante su mano y un dispositivo se le va a proveer. Welcome to the Palm Springs Unified School District regular meeting at the Board of Education. Today is Tuesday, March 11, 2025. I will now call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Here.
Here.
Color guard, attention! Forward! March! Stand. Color guard, halt! Legs, face, color. Reset. Colors.
The next item is item 5B, Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Kimberly Rodriguez.
Okay, right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment as silent.
Order. Colors. Ready, cut. Right. Face. Forward. March.
And item 5C, a moment of silence will be observed for Evelyn Reed. Evelyn dedicated 9 years of service to the Palm Springs Unified School District and retired as a nutrition service assistant one. Also, a moment of silence will be observed for Rick Wright. Rick Wright dedicated 15 years of service to the Palm Springs Unified School District as a principal at Palm Springs High School. Thank you. Item 5D, mission statement. Our mission statement will be read by Zoraida Silvernail.
All members of Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and community to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacities, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapid, changing world.
I will read the mission statement in Spanish. Todos los miembros del Distrito Escolar Unificado de Palm Springs están unidos en nuestro compromiso con la equidad. Creamos oportunidades de aprendizaje profundas y significativas. Creamos profesionalismo e involucramos a los padres y a la comunidad para garantizar el éxito de todos los estudiantes. Todos los estudiantes se gradúan con las habilidades, capacidades y confianza necesaria para tener éxito en un mundo en cambio rápido. Item 5E, land acknowledgement. Our land acknowledgement will be read by Zoraida Silvernail.
The Palm Springs Unified School District acknowledges the Cahuilla as the original stewards of the land on which the Palm Springs Unified School District facilities now sit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work with the indigenous people in this place. We pay our respects to the Cahuilla people past, present, and emerging who have been here since time immemorial.
Thank you, Zoraida. Item 6, report of closed session action. Claire Guerrero, are there any closed session action to report?
Board President Espericueta, the board met with its real property negotiators in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. By a unanimous vote, the board provided direction to the district's real property negotiators to 1. Accept a second counteroffer made by Ann Taskett and Steve Lederman, the proposed seller, for the amount proposed purchase by the district of a building located at 1247 South Gene Autry Trail, Palm Springs, California, 92264. As identified in the closed session agenda, the property finalize and execute the purchase and sale agreement for the property. Sign any and all documents necessary to open escrow and ultimately close escrow for the purchase of this property. And bring the final purchase and sale agreement back to the board for ratification at the next available board meeting.
Thank you, Claire Guerrero. Next item is item 7, approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please?
I'll move. Second.
We have motion and second. Any questions? No? Okay, please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item A is a public comments. Claire Guerrero, have we received any electronic comments? Or we have personal comments?
Board President Espericueta, we have not received any electronic comments.
Thank you. Next is in-person comments. All comments are to be directed to the board, be under 3 minutes, and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional courtesy decorum during public comments. Board members do not respond to public comments. We start with the card that we received. The first one is Phoenix Henderson. Thank you.
Ms. Henderson, I will be timing you with my phone. And then 15 seconds prior to closing, I'll just give you a little advance time,
Like a wave?
like a wave. Well, actually, I'll
Okay,
say
sounds good.
yes,
Okay,
because
um,
you don't see the clock.
sorry?
Yeah, you don't see a clock
Oh,
to help you.
okay, I got you. Okay, well, I have some items for you. May I pass them to you? I didn't have the opportunity, I didn't know how many people were going to be here. I've never done this before, so forgive me for not making enough copies, but you can share. So I just wanted to bring to your attention what was said to me last week and why I am here before you. It was told to me last week that my dance program may be eliminated down to one class, which is a dual, it's kind of a fully inclusive class. It includes moderate to severe special education students along with regular education students. And then I was told that based on the need and the budget cuts, that I would probably be put into some special ed classes to teach, which I do not want. I was hired by this district as a dance teacher. I happen to have a special ed credential, and I'll help out where I can. And I love teaching those moderate to severe kids. Absolutely love it. And they are going to be showcased in the Spring Dance Spectrum this Friday. So I am inviting you as board members to see what this department is doing, to see the kids that are affected by it, and to see how much progress we have made with kids who cannot speak, who have auditory processing deficits, cannot count 4/4 time music. Can't do it, but I'm teaching them how to dance, and they can do it. So I would love for you to come and see that. What I have given before you is a list of the state standards for physical education as put before you by the California government and the CDE. And please read along with me. All students in grades 7 through 12 must receive a minimum of 400 minutes of physical education instruction every 10 school days. Local school board may exempt students from any 2 years of physical education in grades 10, 11, and 12. Beginning in July 2007, students must pass the physical performance test administered in grade 9 that I do, that all the PE teachers do, the state mandated physical education test. They must pass 5 out of 6 tests that we administer in order to be exempt from their second year of PE. But if they are exempt from that second year of PE based on their performance, then we as a department must propose or give the opportunity.
Pardon me, Ms. Henderson. you
I'm
have to
done?
Conclude, yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, you can read it because I've written out what each coach specializes in, what we can offer these kids, and how we could have the most stellar PE department in this district. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jennifer Robke. Excuse.
Good evening, board members. I'm coming back to you today. You may recall I was here in January and I was speaking to you regarding an ongoing dispute that my client, Uriah, go ahead and stand up, has with the school district regarding the provision of an appropriate public education. I attempted to convene a resolution session with the district. After the resolution session, there was no communication from the district whatsoever. When Uriah came into this district, he came back because he wanted an appropriate education. What he received instead was a cut in his vision therapy, speech and language services that did not occur, service logs that were missing, and an IEP team that told him he was, quote, functional. But I want to remind the IEP team I want to remind the school board that the standard under the law is meaningful educational benefit. It's not whether a child is functional or not. And I also want to bring this to your attention because there is an insidious bigotry of low expectations for this child. This child deserves an appropriate education, which is what the standard is under the law. And I know that all of you are here as board members because you want to help children. You're here as a superintendent for as long as you've been, and I'm sorry to see that you're leaving, because you want to help children. None of us are in this space for the money. So I just want to have you consider this when you think about your closed session and your pending litigation. The district right now is trying to cut his services. They've told him repeatedly that he's functional. And this is a child who has proved he wants to learn, and when he's given the opportunity to learn, he does. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Seisha West.
Good evening, board members. My name is Saoirse West, and I am a friend of Uriah. I graduated from high school, and I also had an IEP. Uriah and my learning disabilities are very different, and that's true. Another difference that we have is that our IEP teams have very different expectations for us. My IEP team had high expectations for me, and it seems like Uriah's has no expectations for him. My team made sure that I received meaningful educational benefit, and that is the standard under the law. Children are supposed to receive meaningful educational benefit instead of de minimis educational benefit. What is the difference between Uriah and I? Is it because I'm high functioning? Is it because I'm white? I'm here to speak out for Uriah because I can, and because he deserves the same opportunity to learn and to interact with people that I got from my IEP team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Gloria Green.
Hello, my name is Gloria Green. I moved Uriah into this school district because I knew he would get a better education here than the charter school he was in. Since I've been back, the people on Uriah's IEP team forgot to provide speech and language services. Most recently, they tried to cut all of his services. They treat him like he is severely intellectually disabled and put him into functional life skills. Functional life skill classes. He's proven that he's able to learn. I've gone to many IEP team meetings, and I've requested a meeting with the special ed director. I explained how Uriah's team keeps claiming that he's not functional. When we meet with the special ed director, they directly offered a response, and they still haven't. And now I understand your attorney has said that you want to sue us, a parent and a child. I'm asking for your help with Uriah. You would not be okay if you understood how Uriah has been pushed through this system without a proper opportunity to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Estela Garcia.
I've never done this. Good evening. My name is Stella Garcia. I'm here on behalf of Uriah. I'm one of his aunts. I'm here to speak in support of Uriah. Please provide him with an appropriate education. Please give him a fair chance to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have another member of the public who wish to address the Board of Education? Thank you. The speaker is Eddie Anderson.
Thank you very much, members of the board. While I'm a resident of Redlands, I do have my production company based here in Palm Springs, and I am an attorney in the area. I've had the pleasure of being in the courtrooms here in Palm Springs on many occasions. I'm also, prior to becoming an attorney, the sixth generation of teachers in my mother's side of the family. And during that time, I remember my mother who taught children of all levels, of all ages, and it was there that we learned that what we learn in school is not so much an education, but the means of attaining an education. That by limiting what it is you're willing to teach Uriah or allow him to learn, you limit his ability not merely to learn here, but onward. Now, I can certainly appreciate the tactic of suing family members. Obviously, it can be successful and can be scary. But at no point should we then make our tactics as attorneys overcome our obligations as educators. I'm sure there are many people, of course, who would envy the opportunity to serve on the board, but nobody would envy the task of serving on the board as you try to measure both a public interest against the individual efforts and rights of a student. However, I would submit and suggest that when you forget those individual rights and that individual purpose and that individual opportunity for the student and the potential growth of the student, well then, if we forget that, why are we here? And with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other member of the public who wish to address the Board of Education? I see none. We move to the next item. Item 9, public hearing. The board now opens the public hearing on the initial proposal for successor agreement from the Palm Springs Teacher Association to the Palm Springs Unified School District and the initial proposal for successor agreement from Palm Springs Unified School District to the Palm Springs Teacher Association. Have any comment been received by the district to the initial proposal?
Board members, Pericueta, President, no written comments have been received for either proposal.
And is there any one person who wish to provide comments on either proposal from the public? No? Okay, no more comments. Later in the agenda, the board will consider approving the initial proposal for the successor agreement from Palm Springs Unified School District to the Palm Springs Teacher Association, and the initial proposal for successor agreement from the Palm Springs Teacher Association to the Palm Springs Unified School District. Seeing no oral comments, I declare the public hearing closed. Item number 10, a special recognition. The governing board wishes to recognize and commend the following employees at the month for February 2025. We have some videos. Okay. I think we're going down.
She is an administrative assistant here at the school. She does everything that we need to run the school. She helps with budget and money and time cards, filling subs when teachers are out, making sure classes are covered. She is very, very detailed oriented. So she keeps me in check with budget, lets me know, why we can and cannot pay for certain things out of certain dollars with my crazy ideas. She shows our students every day that all the different options you have in life once you graduate from high school. Ms. Vedette, I appreciate everything you do for our Scorpion students and staff every day. Rebecca takes initiative and takes the lead on many tasks here at the school with the counseling team. She leads the way with everything 8th grade. Rebecca is one of our school counselors here at Desert Springs Middle School, but she helps our students plan for high school and collaborates with the high school team to make sure that our students are set up for success with their schedules and everything they need as they're transitioning to high school. She is also a former Scorpion. She went to school here. She grew up in this community, and so she really can relate to our students and their families and the needs they have and what they need to be successful. Rebecca does an excellent job of holding students to high standards and making sure that they have the tools they need to achieve those high standards.
Ready? I'll pick you up at your house. We'll do 7:05. You're going to go there on your own.
We would like
like to nominate Sam Cuccinella for our Certificated Staff Member of the Month. Sam goes above and beyond in all areas. He really is the one that organizes all of our internships for our pathways. He's driving kids back and forth from here to Palm Springs, where a lot of the businesses are. I mean, his day really starts at 6:30 in the morning when he picks up the first van. So absolutely incredible guy. Never really looks for any kind of acknowledgement, so we wanted to make sure to give him that acknowledgement on our behalf. I love how organized he is. I'm blessed that I can give him an idea and kind of the big picture, and he will create the schedule. He'll talk to the business partners. He'll get the permission slips out. So really, he does a lot of that groundwork, which just makes everything flow smoothly. Sam, you are instrumental for our Pathway program and all of the internships that we have here on campus. I cannot appreciate you and thank you enough, so thank you. Just recognizing Monica Barraza. She is currently our athletic secretary.
Talk to someone about that because that's right here. I hope not. I deleted it and let's see. All right, cool. So
She's also doing the athletic, but she's doing facilities as well. So to be able to talk to all the different departments and making sure that everything's running smoothly, it's really impressive to see. So she's working from bell to bell, even after school, trying to organize events, busing, and just making sure that all our activities and athletic events are on time. I just wanted to thank her for everything. She's really been the glue that's kind of held that department together right now. She's keeping us sane as well, making sure that we're meeting all our goals. So thank you, Monica.
Let me start with Edvidet Palomar Zarate. Congratulations, Edvidet. Yes. You would like to say anything to your family or you want to say something? Sorry.
Just thank you. I really appreciate it. I thank you, Sue. Thank you.
Next one is Monica Barraza. Congratulations, Monica. You would like to say anything to the family? Or?
I'd just like to say that I have been with this school district for 18 years, and I really appreciate being acknowledged for all the hard work and dedication. So thank you.
Thank you. Next one is Sam Cusiniello. Congratulations, Sam. Thank you. Would you like to say something?
He wanted to know if I wanted to say something. I've waited 27 years to have a microphone in my hand. So, first of all, I really appreciate this because in 27 years of teaching, it's literally the first award I ever got. So, I'm pretty excited about that. But I got to say, it's only because I really love this position I'm in, the Work-Based Learning Coordinator, and I work with an administrator, Mr. Tinoco, Mr. Grime, Mr. Pendergraft, they're here, and Mr. Lyles that left Palm Springs, but they really understand my quirks, and they don't hold it against me, so that's why I'm able to do the best job possible. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The next one is Rebecca Tartaglini. Okay. Congratulations, Rebecca. Would you like to say something?
Sure. It's hard to follow that, but again, as a kid who grew up in Desert Hot Springs, it's very special to work at one of our schools and with our students. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item is item 10B. The governing board wish to recognize and commend the following student for academic excellence. I would call to come to the front Eric Valenzuela from Desert Hot Spring High School. Next one is Yael Gainey from Desert Hot Spring Middle School. We have any teacher from the school that would like to say something or? No? You good? Okay. Okay. Let me call the rest of the student and then the next one is Jaden Dodson. And also we have Anaya McClelland. And the next student, Todrick War. Here. Okay, congratulations.
These amazing students are also Junior Black Achiever officers, and I've just seen them just grow and evolve into amazing students who are active at our school, as well as they really take academics very seriously. So we're all very proud of you. Go Scorpions.
Congratulations. Yeah, that is, I would say, the picture. Yeah, okay. Next item, the item 10C. The governing board wish to recognize the following parent for involvement and engagement in school activities and events. Okay. Oh, sorry, I apologize for don't call that Eric Valenzuela from Desert Hot Spring High School. Eric Valenzuela is not here. Okay. Okay, and now the governing board wish to recognize the following parent for involvement and engagement in school activities and events. The parent is Cindy Stady from Desert Hot Spring High School. Congratulations, Cindy. Cindy, do you would like to say something to your family or? Oh,
Well, I just like to say that I love Desert Hot Springs High School. I've had 3 kids that have graduated from here. I really, truly love the Public Safety Academy and the teachers here and the staff.
Thank you.
Well, she really loves Desert Hot Springs High School and the PSA Academy. No, I'm just kidding. No, really, Cindy is here almost every day. And not only has she been an integral part of PSA, but really the relationships she has built with not just our students, but our staff has been incredible to see. So we thank you. You know, after we lost her last son and he graduated, we're like, oh, we're not going to see her again. And we probably see her more now. So that's great. And we want to keep her around. So congratulations.
Hello. Next item is item 11, a student board member report. A student board member report will be presented by Kimberly Rodriguez and Zoraida Silvernail. At first, we have Kimberly from Cathedral City High School.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Today I'm going to present my March report for Cathedral City High School. Here's an overview of what I'll be discussing today. I'll start off by mentioning some of the sports we have, events, as well as music at CCHS. So to begin, here are some sports that are in season. We have boys volleyball, boys tennis, girls swim, track, softball, and baseball. And I wanted to mention that now that the year is coming to an end, I wanted to highlight some of our seniors' experiences. So I added 3 quotes. I'll read one of them. I'll read from track. Someone said, after being in track for the last 3 years, I feel like this moment is really bittersweet. I'm really excited to spend my last year doing a sport I love with people I consider family, but sad it's going to come to an end. This is by senior Sabina Gutierrez. And here's just some more quotes from other students, and it really seems like a lot of our seniors are feeling really bittersweet about it. Moving on, I wanted to show some of our more recent events that we've had. We had a movie night that was presented by our drama club at school where they showed La La Land at our theater. We also had our winter sports ceremony night where a lot of our winter athletes were celebrated. We had our Equity Ambassadors and BSU movie showing where they showed a movie about Jackie Robinson's story, as well as a used clothing drive where students were able to give their older clothes to in a bin so we could donate them to Angel View. There's a video that played. It was for our recent Coachella Valley Folklorico Festival where our Ballet Folklorico students taught students from all over the district, young to high school. It was really awesome and we all got to perform together, so that was really nice, and that just occurred last weekend. And lastly, we have our Guatemala Dental Kids Committee where some of our students have been collecting all these dental equipment like toothbrushes, travel size mouthwash and things like that so they can put up kits to then donate. And lastly, I kind of did want to touch on music at CCHS as this is one of the emphasized topics this month for March. So one thing I want to emphasize was our symphony band because they've been going to really cool places lately. They performed at Cal State Fullerton, Riverside Community College, and Cal State Long Beach. We also had our coffee house last week, which is an event where any of our students are able to go perform, and even teachers perform. We have a picture of one of our teachers actually beatboxing, but students were able to hang out and listen to really beautiful music. And I also wanted to touch on Stardust, which is a performing arts festival that is hosted by our bands, which is this Saturday. So it's super exciting. And apart from music, there'll also be many other performances. And before I say thank you, I wanted to mention a few other things that are upcoming. We're getting ready for testing rallies for the juniors as testing season is coming up. We're getting that ready, as well as our IB diploma program, or our students are getting ready for their CAS Prague trip later this month. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that our IB certification went really well. So that was something we were very happy about. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. And up next, we have Suraya from Desert Hot Spring High School.
Good evening, everyone. This will be my March report for Desert Hot Springs High School. So first, going over our agenda, I'll be going over our general events, our DHSHS department highlight of the month, our sports, and our upcoming events. First off with our general events. We recently had our Taste of Soul event, which was a major success, and we had a huge diverse population come out to enjoy the night. Although we will be concluding our Black History Month from February, Black history and excellence should always be celebrated for the year round. I hope everyone continues to do this year round. We are now working on our women's hygiene drive, where we are collecting feminine hygiene products, and all proceeds are being donated to our local Safe House of the Desert. Now moving on to our DHSHS department highlight of the month, showcasing our art department. Acknowledging our DHSHS students in the art department for their outstanding opportunity with being part of Desert X 2025. Desert X is a world-famous exhibition that brings thought-provoking installations to the Coachella Valley. And also, we will be highlighting the Fashion Club for their amazing, they will be highlighting their showcasing, I'm so sorry. They are going to be highlighting articles of their own clothing in the El Paseo Annual Fashion Show, along with their efforts in creating clothing drives for the victims of the LA fires. Now transitioning into our spring sports. Currently, our spring sports are off to a great season. Our boys and girls track team are currently undefeated, and our boys volleyball has also been on a winning streak, with their latest win against Arroyo Valley. Our softball team also won against Desert Mirage yesterday. After a wonderful season, we cannot wait to see what the season brings to our spring teams. Now on to our focuses, our DHSHS upcoming events. We are currently focusing on our upcoming Small Business Expo, occurring next week. This is our annual exposition to give opportunities to students on campus who currently own small businesses to showcase and promote their business. We are also focused on our annual Powder Puff game on April 4th and our blood drive with Livestream Blood Bank on March 21st. They were so kind to also give Starbucks gift cards to those who donate blood, of course, as supplies last. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is item 12, presentation. Dr. Koval.
Good evening. Our educational services update will be presented by our coordinator of visual and performing arts, Barbara Anglin. and the focus is going to be arts in the schools.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Education, Dr. Signoret, Cabinet, and the student board members for having me present today on arts and music in the schools. Since the 2019 California Arts Standards, visual and performing arts has become the arts with a capital A, and that is to include the media arts into the California standards. Although the star tonight is arts and music in the school, I also wanted to highlight some of the other programs that are within the district arts office. Besides myself and my district office specialist, Michael Maloney, there is David Green, manager of theater and performing arts, and with him is Elia Valdez, his district arts specialist, and Colin, who is here today. Thank you, Colin. And Anthony Flores. They are the stadium and auditorium specialists. And our newest member is Jonathan Barton. He's a technician for theater. And then you can see David's programming. We also have community art programs. They're valued members that have been with us a long time. And our artist in residence program. I'm going to go over these for you now. Oh, thank you for turning it. We have 3 elementary artists in residence, and each elementary classroom receives 2 art experiences from one of the artists in residence. We also have Boys Art Mentoring, BAM, as you might know it, and Strength Through Art and Relationships, STAR, and they each have 2 artists, and they provide positive interactions and school connectiveness through art mentoring. MTU, Musical Theater University, is in grades 8th through 12th, and our MTU Junior is at Ranch Mirage Elementary and Cielo Vista Charter. David also oversees the Palm Springs Unified's summer kids art theater camp. And at the end of that camp, the students put on a performance showcasing their singing, dancing, and acting abilities that they learned through camp. Also, there is the boot camp, the Broadway boot camp for the high school students during the summer. And they also put on a performance at the end of the camp. Last year was Alice by Heart, and Dr. Kovach and her husband attended that at the Annenberg Theater. It was wonderful. So now the star of my presentation. You might know this as Proposition 28, but the state changed it to Arts and Music in Schools. And for the continuation of my presentation, I'll refer to this as AMS. Some facts about AMS. Residents of California voted it in. The purpose of AMS is to provide more arts, remember with the capital A, offerings to students. There's a formula for the site allocations, 70% of enrollment as well as low-income students. Out of each site allocation, at least a minimum of 80% is to increase arts staffing, and that is classified and certificated Palm Springs Unified staffing. A minimum of 30%, 19% for arts and materials and supplies. So materials and supplies can also be professional development, presenters, consultants in the arts, and curriculum for students in the arts. And of course, 1% for indirect. Sites have 3 years to spend each year's allocation. So Palm Springs Unified's Board of Education, Superintendent, and Cabinet have over a 12-year history of valuing arts education. So Palm Springs Unified has a strong foundation in the arts. And so with AMS, we are being strategic in increasing the arts. So as you can see in elementary, we have 2 itinerant AMS art teachers. They each have 8 sites. They teach art in the STEAM room and follow the STEAM teacher's schedule. We also have 2 itinerant AMS ORF music teachers. They also have 8 sites each. They teach in the elementary music teacher classrooms and follow the elementary teacher's schedules. This and the 4 itinerant AMS elementary teachers, they are a part of educational services and they are under my supervision. Next year, we'll be adding 2 more art teachers in AMS for transitional kindergartens. And we are about to add in early childhood education a itinerant art and music early childhood teacher. In secondary, there's based on the school needs of the secondary, so we have increased arts in band and in dance, guitar, and visual arts. But you know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's look at AMS Elementary. Piper Scott and Romero Ortega are our AMS teachers in art, and they teach a variety of skills and a progression of skills with beautiful art supplies using the California Art Standards and the STEAM Amplify for themes, and they coordinate all of that to make the beautiful art, to do the beautiful art projects for the students, anything ranging from motion, as you saw with the clay cars, to animal habitats. So Holly Roby and Ryan Cohen are the AMS ORF music teachers. ORF music is student-centered. It incorporates imagination, note reading, singing, movement, and instrumentals. If you can see on the next slide, so here they're doing a lot of movement and to the music that will lead into note reading. And in the next slide, it's called, I'm going to get it right, it's My Knot Box. So students create a car or a tennis shoe or a rocket ship, and then they play their knot box to notes of a short song. All right, AMS secondary, let's take a look at those. Here you have AMS paid for dance teacher Suzanne Coleman at MSJ and at Ed Winslow Educational Center. And they are learning, the students are learning and performing the hustle in their brand new dance rooms at both sites. And there's no photo evidence, but I couldn't resist jumping in and doing the hustle at both sites. I bet Madonna would have done that with me. All right, and here we have AMS paid for visual arts teacher Eric Yanko, and the students are doing cross stitch. Makerspace and arts and crafts are a part of AMS. And because of AMS, Raymond Cree Middle School is able to have a second visual arts teacher. So they can have a progression of art at Raymond Cree because of AMS. And here we have AMS paid for visual arts teacher Ashley Bray at DLA. And you can see her students here are doing a modernism project, but most of her art projects are based on the themes in Edgenuity. Here is AMS paid for guitar and choir teacher at Cathedral City High School, Giovanni Aguilar. And I was thrilled to see in the guitar class that almost half the students are females. And although the spotlight tonight has been on AMS, I would also like you to see some of the other programs that we talked about earlier in the district coming from the district's arts office. And we'll start with STAR and BAM. Here you have Strength Through Art and Relationships with a Star. It's for middle school girls. The girls have experience this year in art and mindfulness and dance. Here you see sound bath and singing bowls. So the girls are learning how to calm down their nervous system and tools for regulating their emotions, as well as receiving experiences in different dance styles. Boys Art Mentoring, or BAM, for middle school boys. The boys are learning different skills in art and building on their art techniques, as well as also having experiences in different dance styles. Elementary Artists in Residence. We have 3 elementary artists in residence, which are different than the AMS art teachers. Oops, that was sensitive. I need to go back. The top 2 are from the art through the master's program, and we have Picasso and Matisse collage, and the middle one is from the art and literature program, and you have Zen Pig's gratitude jar, but we're using bags so that we don't have any breakage. A couple example of David Green's programs. This is the Palm Springs Unified Honor Singers. Not only do they sing, but they MC. You might remember them from the Welcome Back and from the State of the District address. I'm going to go back one. Sorry. This is from the Drowsy Chaperone, which was MTU's fall production. The spring production in May is going to be Chicago, the teen edition, and it's going to be at the Palm Springs Art Museum. All right, let's take a look at some examples from our community art partners. The top is the McCallum Theater's 5th grade aesthetic program, and this one is Shakespeare and Jazz, which was phenomenal. The bottom left is the 2nd grade program at the Cabot Yerxa Pueblo Museum, and the right is the community, the Palm Springs community concerts and for students. Next, we have the Palm Springs International Film Festival. Here, high school students watch a film that has been in the festival, and then a filmmaker comes afterwards and answers questions for the students. This year's film was Bob Trevino Likes It. It's going to be in theaters end of March, beginning of April, and I highly recommend it. You see pictured here the writer and director of the movie, the film, Tracy Lehman, and she was phenomenal with the students and so giving of her time with them. Here you see Infinite Flow Dance and their Dance into Disability Inclusion performance. We had 2 assemblies at Bubbling Wells and 2 assemblies at Two Bunch Palms. Not only was there a performance, but the dancers taught about inclusion and overcoming adversity through their own stories. Board Member Clerk and Board Clerk Madonna Jarrell and Dr. Signoret attended the Bubbling Wells morning session and was able to see this powerful dance performance. I want to thank you for this opportunity of allowing me to share about AMS and the district programs, including, which you might not know, is all the beautiful artwork from students and staff that's in your Agave conference room and that is in the hallways of the district of the DAC, the District Administration Center, is curated by myself and Michael Maloney, and I hope that you all enjoy it. And once again, I want to thank you for this time.
Any question for Barbara or comments? Thank you.
Great, I
Flowers.
appreciate it. Thank
you,
you.
Barbara.
Miss Anglin?
Yes.
When the students are doing those special lessons, about how many times do they have the opportunity to work with those visiting artists?
So for AMS, they're there for a week, and then they move on to the next school, and they're there for a week, and then on to the next school. So they do 5 rounds for most of the schools. That's through AMS. The artists in residence, program where there's the different artists. They do 2 lessons in every classroom at a school before they're moving on. So each artist has different set of schools.
And I just have a comment. This past weekend, I had a chance to see Jesus Christ Superstar at the CVEP Theater in Cathedral City, and 2 of our MTU students were performing, and it was great to see the collaboration with MTU.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Barbara, real quick.
Yes.
This proposition was in 2022, and
Right.
then you mentioned that we had 3 years to spend the money. Is it going to go away after that?
So since it was voted in by California residents, the way it goes away is by it being voted out. So 23-24 money, you have 23-24, 24-25, 25-26, then 24-25 money is 24-25, 25-26. So it goes on and on and on. And so you spend the old money before you spend the new money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You really do. You got wonderful programs out there. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It's all for the students,
Thank
so
you,
it's a job of love.
Great
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next item is item 13, board member comments. Do we have any comments from board members? Gerardi? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Principal Tinoco and your staff here for hosting us tonight. Also, the superintendent's office and our technology and security departments. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing us to come out here tonight. Thank you to our student board members for your great reports tonight. It's always great to hear what's going on at our schools. And congratulations to our honorees tonight and to our Palm Springs Teachers of the Year. And really thank them for all that they do for our schools. It was a pleasure to attend on Saturday the Cathedral City High School's 3rd Annual Ballet Folklorico Festival. The elementary and high school groups from around the district participated. It was really great to see how many ballet folklorico groups we have throughout the district. I also attended last night's APAC meeting. Dr. Pfeffer gave a great report on the LCAP, and attendees had suggestions for programs to be included in next year's LCAP. And I have to say that APAC's meetings are always well attended. And upcoming this Saturday is the Black History Committee 55th Annual Scholarship Fund Banquet and the Palm Springs Unified School District Theater Arts Extravaganza. So thank you.
Hello? Okay, perfect. So I would also like to follow up with some of the meetings that I have been to as well. February 26th, in honor of International Women's Day, I would like to take a moment to say congratulations to Ola Roberts and Cora Crawford. They were recognized by the city of Palm Springs for bringing Desert Highland Unity Center to Palm Springs. And so Ola Roberts was a teacher at Kauai Elementary and also my teacher, and she was there for 41 years. And Cora Crawford was also at the Palm Springs Child Care Center. And so I just want to say congratulations to those women. It's very important. They did a lot for the community. Desert Highland happens to be a community that I am from, and I'm very proud of both of those ladies. Next, I went on February 28th, I went to Cielo Vista Elementary School for the Black History Celebration. This event is always wonderful, great turnout. The students always do a wonderful job with presenting there, and it's always great to hear the information and the knowledge that they have about Black history. And also on March the 7th, I went to the middle school track meet at the Palm Springs High School. That event also was amazing. But one of the things that I found very interesting and something that you would never expect is there was a 6th grade young man who was running in Crocs, and he was running the mile, and he actually won the mile. It wasn't even close, and he was running so fast in Crocs. And I was like, how in the world is a kid running around with sandals on at a track meet, but he won first place. So I just want to say congratulations to that kid with the Crocs. Next, March the 10th, I went to a luncheon for Coachella Valley Chamber in honor, and we had a conversation with the Riverside County Board Supervisor, Manny Perez, and that also was wonderful to hear all the great things that we have coming to our Coachella Valley. And he spent time talking about quite a bit of things, the housing market, and how we can figure out how to get affordable housing and different things in the Coachella Valley. And lastly, I went to the APAC monthly meeting, March the 10th, and as she said, the guest speaker was Jim Pfeffer. And Jim always, if he's here, no, he's not here. Jim always does an immaculate job at his presentations. There's nothing that he ever misses. You can't stub him with any question. He knows everything, and he doesn't even look down as he's reading off all of this information. So great job, Jim, and it was a wonderful job by the parents and the questions. And that concludes my
Thank you.
Real quick, I just want to kind of echo a couple of comments made. First, Mr. Tinoco, thank you very much for offering the facility here to you and your staff. Our wonderful Mr. Carr and his wonderful team, thank you for all you do to bring this event here. And Monica and Erica, thank you both very much. We really appreciate it. Thanks to our public speakers this evening. It's really great to hear your perspective. We take that very seriously, so thank you.
Please come to my show.
We'd love to.
Friday night.
What time?
7 o'clock, 7 to 9.
Okay, thank you. 7 to 9, Friday night.
In the gym.
In the gym. Got it. Thank you. And thanks to these two wonderful young ladies, great presentations. Those were very, very well done. So thank you very much. You really bring us up to speed. I also want to thank Cabot Yerxa Elementary. I got to do a read with me up there. I got to read to kindergartners and 5th graders. And it's all, as everybody knows, it's just a wonderful experience to be able to do that. So thank you to the wonderful staff over there. And last Wednesday, as part of the Rotary, we do an early act club over at Julius Corsini Elementary School. And I want to thank Principal Gomez and Chris Salinas, the counselor, for helping us with that. And for that particular one last Wednesday, I want to thank my friend. He's the president of the Mission Springs Water District, Ivan Sewell. He put on a presentation of how we get our water in Desert Hot Springs, and he did a wonderful job. And I want him to know how appreciative I am for that. With that, I'm done. Thank you.
And quickly, if I can go, I forgot one thing. There's no way I could leave the mic or leave the stand without saying something about the Ricky Wright. I've been receiving so many phone calls, so many important messages from his students about how wonderful and great he was and how much of a great man that we're losing and we lost. So I just want to say, rest as easy as possible for the family. We're here to support you guys, and we definitely will really miss Ricky. And so that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Okay. Going back to February, every month, women who are in politics, we are invited to a meeting with about 165 other women across the county. And it's called Women in Leadership Meeting, Women in Politics Meeting. And I usually attend this Zoom meeting with our supervisor, Catherine Spiegel. And so I get to network and meet women across the county and find out about leadership events for women in politics. And so I tune in, and I just really like to see who's there and learn about the mayors and all the representation of women in the county. On March 4th, I was able to slip into Landau, and the first thing I saw was the modernization project, and the roofers just working away on our newest section there. And I was really excited to see that, and the kids kept playing on the playground. And I waited for the bell, and I read to two different classrooms, Miss Montez's room and another third grade classroom. And I read the book, The Day the Crayons Quit. And if you haven't read it, it's really wonderful because it teaches inclusivity, and it teaches that all colors are welcome and needed. So that was really wonderful. Thank you for welcoming me, Landau. And March 8th, I was in the parking lot at Rancho Mirage, and I was interested in buying a vehicle, but my husband said no. There were 65 vehicles there for the car show with coffee and the foundation. Thank you to Edgar and Javier and Will Bogner, the race teacher there, the academy teacher. I was interested in a 67 Cobra owned by Red Ferris, and he actually raced back in the 70s when Ferrari was racing against Ford. So he had pictures. His name was in the movie. Also, thank you to Mr. Ormier. He was on duty that day, and it was a perfect afternoon or morning for Cars with Coffee. A very successful event. Next, I want to recognize Martin, and there he is right there. And Martin was partnering with the city of Cathedral City this weekend at a race in front of the city hall, and he was signing there, and he really is a giving person to be able to work throughout the week and then help to sign for events in our community. A lot of our council people and mayors and people we know and work with were there, and it was really a special pride event. So, Martin, thank you for all that you do. Okay? Yay, let's give him a hand. He does such a great job, and he's here. I want to say I haven't missed a meeting maybe in 2 years, and he's been here most every night. We read about events, we learn about events, and there was something that I read about called Laundry with Love. It's an initiative helping people who are experiencing hardship. And Laundry with Love is held, I think, every Wednesday and on Sunrise in the Sunrise Laundry. And our Palm Springs High School students volunteer and go to help with doing the laundry for people who need their clothes laundered. So special thank you to all of the students who we might even not know about who are contributing to our communities. I was with our fellow board members in our African American Zoom meeting with 25 others, and that was a very, very productive meeting. It was really important for us to hear the comments that some of the community members made and to help pass that information along. So that's good for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one last thing. We are so excited to congratulate our AXA winners. I don't know if I'm taking your your time to do that, but didn't take your thunder. But we are so proud of our association of leaders here in the desert, and that includes Jesus Rojas from Rancho Mirage High School, Sue Drummond right here, Desert Springs Middle School, and Region 19 District Award Julio Omir. Congratulations to them.
Thank you, board members. I want to start with my comment. First, I want to thank the Desert Hot Springs High School for hosting this meeting. Thank you, Principal Tinoco. Thank you all staff from the school district. Thank you, the translators, the Spanish and translator sign language for being here because it's different. All is wonderful group to bring the meeting to this high school and Desert Hot Spring community. And also, this month is the National Social Work Month. I want to thank all the school district social workers for your dedication and commitment to the students. Thank you for the wonderful job. Thank you, the student board member, for your great presentation. All the time you have good information for all student and community from the school district. Also in February 26th, I received the teacher Mario Castillo from the Rancho Mirage High School. It's an economic class. And this is the student create a business. They spend 2 or 3 weeks to create one internet page and presentation, and then they perform a sale presentation for possible investor. And I was one of the investors. The teacher assigned me 10 million to invest, and was good practice for the student. I had a good experience, and that is a good class that probably we can try to use in another high schools. And the same day, I stop in the Rancho Mirage High School for the softball game, and I received a comment from parents thanking the school for have the lights in the field, because that allowed the student to start the game late. They say before they had to start 2 or 3 p.m., and now they start around 5 or later, and they have time to rest, and also the parents that work and too late, they have time to be there. Thank you for that good idea to put light in the whole campus, in the whole fields. Thank you. Also, in March 4th, I have the lunch with the superintendent. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Superintendent Signoret. And we have one busy day, and start having the conversation that all the time is good because we know more each other, and I get good advice from him. Thank you, Tony. And in the same day, we had the agenda planning in person, and we had also a special board meeting the same day. And in March 10, I'm attending with the board member Erwin the Great Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce in the legislative breakfast. That was a good opportunity to interact with another elected official or organization representative from the whole Coachella Valley, and was a good information coming from Supervisor Manuel Perez. And this morning, and I had the opportunity to participate in a radio show with Joan Boyko in the postcard with that was a good experience, very comfortable. Joan Boyko is very professional to guide the interview, and I would like to do it more often. Thank you, Joan. And with that, I end my report. Thank you. Now, we move to the item 14, student board member comments. As our student board member, have you any comments that you would like to share?
I can go first. So first, I did want to acknowledge and accredit our DHSHS dance team, especially over this weekend. They won first place large team division at Sharp International, and I know many of my peers who cannot live without this program, so I do definitely want to reiterate your comment. And then I also wanted to extend an invitation to our annual Powder Puff, April 4th. And then other than that, I just wanted to acknowledge all women, especially for this month.
Thank you.
Okay. I apologize for being a little under the weather. Thank you for the tissues. But I wanted to say thank you for DHS for letting us have this meeting here. I've never been to the school before, but it was really exciting. I was telling everybody how pretty it was and how excited I was to be here. But other than that, there's 2 events that I did not mention because I did want to make it more personal invite. In January, we had a CAST Sunnylands event that we did. It was Art Through Latin America, and we're having another one this month. It's through the era, so there'll be a bunch of activities with different, different activities with a bunch of different time periods. And that'll be March 22nd. So look out for that, and I really hope some of you can make it. And then also next Thursday, we have our unified sports game, which is a basketball game that we hold for special education students at our school. And this is like one of, I think, my favorite events that we have all year round. It's super fun, and we've been preparing for it for a while, but it's finally time. It's the 20th at 4 p.m., and I would really love for you guys to join us. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, student board members. And next item is item 14. Item 15, superintendent report.
Thank you, President Espericueta. I'll keep my comments very brief. I don't want to repeat many of the things that the board and student board members have already mentioned. I do want to, especially since I know we have 3 pretty long presentations going on, an important one. No, I'm sorry, important. I didn't mean to say long. Important presentations coming up. With that, I do want to thank everybody that helped put together today's board meeting, because every time we bring a board meeting on the road, it takes a lot of effort. So Monica, Erica, Will, thank you so much. Omar, Mike, Sean, I know you guys, even though you're sitting on polar opposites of the room, you're a good team. So good. Thank you guys for everything that you do. So thank you for helping put this together. The only comment I want to make is along the lines of what board member Irvin said. It's always a sad moment, extremely sad moment, whenever we lose a member of our PSUSD family and have our moments of silence. I want to offer my condolences to Maria Wright and her children, the entire Wright family. It was an honor for me to have known Ricky, both professionally and personally. His twin daughters were in the same grade, went to the same school together with my daughter, Juliet. They even rehearsed for the Kauai talent show on many occasions in my own living room, and it was quite the sight to see even Ricky coming in and giving his 2 cents on choreography for the girls, especially when they were doing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And Ricky was absolutely delightful. Ricky was a huge advocate for the students, staff, and the entire Palm Springs High community. So thank you, Ricky. Your impact will never be forgotten. Thank you, President Espericueta.
Thank you, Superintendent Signoret. Our next item is item 16, board action items. Item 16A, approval of positive certification at solvency second interim report for fiscal year 2024-2025, OE5. Mr. Simmons? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve item 16A, please?
Move for approval.
second?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
No, no.
Oh, your eyes,
Charlie.
please.
Almost had you doing that. It was so close.
Almost. Okay. You are ready, Ashley?
Okay, so let the meeting begin now, right? All right, I'm actually going to go through this pretty quickly, especially since I've been called out. so, but really, the reality is it hasn't changed much since first interim. So we'll go through this relatively quickly. But I would like to thank the board and the cabinet and all the departments for your participation in second interim. I particularly like to thank. Oh, there he is. Tony Carrillo, our Director of Fiscal Services, and his team for putting this whole packet together. The full report and this presentation are part of the board packet, and it is also on the website. So as I go through this quickly, you'll be able to go back to it because I know you all will do that. They were working on getting the slideshow. Anyway, as we go through it, I'm going to be reviewing key points from the Governor Newsom's budget for 25-26, but also reviewing the second interim report. The purpose of the second interim is twice a year we need to update the budget. This one, the last one was for October 31st. You kind of freeze it and talk about it then. And then this one is for January 31st. We freeze it and talk about it then, and then we'll do estimated actuals and finally the unaudited actuals at the very end. In the meantime, we also do what's called multi-year projections. So it's a kind of a preliminary projection of the next couple of years. The certifications. Hopefully by the time we get to the important stuff, that'll be up there. The certifications include a positive certification. That means that you are able to fulfill all of your financial obligations over the 3-year period for the multi-year projection. Qualified means that we have uncertainty about our ability for our financial obligations, and negative certification means we will not be able to pay our bills basically over the 3-year period. Spoiler alert, we will have a positive certification, so that's what I'll be asking for. All right, let's see where we're at here. Okay, so like I said, the second interim report includes financial data through January 31st, and then we also do the multi-year projection. We do this all through support from School Services of California, the Department of Finance, which is basically the governor's office, Legislative Analyst's office, because those two have a tendency to be quite different. And also our COE. So we go use a lot of their data and their assumptions as we move forward because we're very much state dependent. So as we talk about the governor's budget, he's still trying to figure out some creative ways to deal with the 2022 tax collections. They were a little underwhelming. There was a shortfall at that particular time. But he is protecting the education budget. So that's super important. Even though there was a potential $12 billion reduction to Prop 98, he is actually still protecting the education budget and making sure that we even have grants that help for teachers' professional development and as well as teacher recruitment. And then there's also a focus to kind of get back to normal and stabilize Prop 98. Like I said, the governor uses a less pessimistic revenue assumption than the Legislative Analyst's office. They go back and forth, but there'll be plenty of negotiations going on from now until the budget's actually adopted at the end of June. just to give you an idea of how state dependent we are, Prop 98 takes up about 55% of the total budget. So the gray bar is the total general fund budget for the state, and then education takes about 55% of that. That's the blue bar. That's the Prop 98 minimum guarantee funding. So a couple themes from this budget is one is we are very much state dependent on the state aid, as well as our local attendance. We really need those kids to be in the seats each day because that's how the state does pay us. The second theme would be cautious optimism. We're in the middle of a slowdown right now, as I've been talking about for quite some time. We still have declining enrollment going on. Hopefully that bottoms out pretty soon and we begin to rise. We do have some new housing coming in. So hopefully that kind of, like I said, bottoms out. This is actually the toughest year as far as revenues. It's the one we've lost the most money year to year. And we're actually handling it pretty well with some one-time funds and our fund balance, and also the cuts that we've already decided to make that are kind of away from the classroom as part of our stabilization plan, as Cabinet continues to review every single time we meet what programs we can look at, what departments, what positions and so forth that are vacant that we can sort of live without and move on from. So that's been working. We have been reducing the budget by quite a bit this year. There are still some risks with Prop 98 at the state level, though. But the governor is really working to stabilize that Prop 98. So he's doing this by eliminating the reliance on one-time funding to support that LCFF. He was using a lot of federal ESSER funds and grant funds in order to kind of backfill the education funding. He's no longer doing that. Slowly replenishing Prop 98 reserves, which is important. It's important to have your reserves, just like we do. And fully funding COLA. There are some ups and downs with COLA this year. Right now it's sitting about 2.43% for this next year. But I have recently heard that there's some things that it might be bringing that down a tiny bit. We'll have to see. Again, the greatest risk to our local budget, though, is that enrollment changes and the rising cost of goods and some of the other things that we have to take care of to support our students. So there are some risks at the state level as well. The recent fires have prompted the state to defer the LA County taxes, and they are the largest population, as you can see down there on the bottom left for you. The population of Los Angeles County makes up about 25% of the total state population. So there's going to be, kind of a wait and see on those taxes. There is a delay on that. So we won't know for sure all the certifications of our funding until later. Some of the local risks I've really already talked about, the declining enrollment. The legal expenses we continue to have through AB 218, actually all of districts in general. The new one that's coming up this next year, the adult to student ratio for TK is changing from 12 to 1 to 10 to 1. But yet the class maximum is still 24 to 1. So what this means is we probably will have to hire more aides to get down to that 10 to 1 ratio, maybe a few more teachers as well. So that kind of remains to be seen as we work through those ratios starting this next year. The ELOP funding is now going to include a lot more students because it's going to be including students that are for districts that have a UPP greater than 55% instead of just the current 75%. So that's a whole nother group of students that will be able to participate. Right now, the governor is giving additional money to fund those. But if they decide to kind of hold that steady, then that money will have to be shared. So right now, this is not a problem, but as they continue through ELOP, the funding for ELOP it's very flexible. It may reduce down a bit per student because they have to share more between the students. And that's okay because more students are going to be enjoying this, yes. Unduplicated, that's the unduplicated count. Unduplicated pupil percentage is what it stands for, sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I usually deal with the acronyms better than that. So, all right, then we also have some federal changes going on. We don't know what's going on with the Department of Education. Some of these things were already in place before the Department of Education, all the titles, IDEA, even nutrition services is partly funded through that. So, but the state has made a commitment for the Universal Meal Program, and and continuing that going. So the state intends to keep going with that. Hopefully, we'll get continued federal assistance at the state level. And then we also have the one-time grants that, like the Learning Recovery Grant, to help soften our budget landing, to be able to get us through a few of these tough years, and with as minimal cuts as we possibly can. I never like to panic. We deal with this each year as we can, and we kind of use that strategy. So, like I said, cautious optimism. There's also a possibility of an additional one-time grant coming up this next year that the governor has mentioned. These next couple slides just kind of reiterate the points that I just made, that class size TK ratio is going 10 to 1, that the UPP percentage is being changed for the ELOP. He's giving it up there at the top there. You can see he's given additional $0.4 billion ongoing to support that growth. So right now, the governor's office and the legislature really support the after-school programs, which is good. And then also the Learning Recovery Grants getting, basically they're getting back what was taken from them a year or so ago. So, but this will help us kind of extend, because we do have people that are working under this Learning Recovery Grant, and it's extending through 27, 28. And then, like I said, the universal meal programs are a big portion of the governor's budget. He really supports that, and we're going to continue through that. So this is really the second interim portion. What happened between first interim and second interim? As you can see right here, there's really only a $4 million difference. Those came from two areas. One, a little bit more revenue right there, a couple $1 million more in interest that we weren't projecting or expecting. And then right here, a little less in special ed contribution from the unrestricted fund. That constitutes to about $4 million going back into the fund balance to be able to use for a later rainy day, if you will. And you can see the fund balance for Fund 17 down there as well. That's also another unrestricted fund. All right, so as we go through this is the assumptions that we use for first interim. The big thing on this slide is to be able to focus, and I've told you this many times, our actual ADA is not what we're being paid on right now. We're being paid on the 3-year average. And until we get to the point where we're being paid on the actual ADA, at that particular point, that's when we've kind of bottomed out on the declining enrollment, and we should be able to start raising up by then. Really, we're kind of projecting that around 27, 28, which is not on this slide, but will be come budget time. As you can see, the COLA's right there. We're expecting 2.43% this next year. It might be a little bit lower by the time budget comes around. We've talked a lot about stabilization plan and what that means. This is how the unrestricted funds are working with a stabilization plan so far this year. Basically, the committed money that the governing board has set aside is still there. We still have the 3% reserve all 3 years. As you can see, we're spending down some assignments and borrowing a little bit from that Fund 17 into this Fund 03. It looks like about $8 million, $9 million right there to continue to make sure that the unrestricted side is still in balance. If we didn't have a stabilization plan in place, this is what we would be projecting by 26, 27. The assignments would be all gone. Fund balance, we would no longer be able to borrow from that Fund 17, and we'd start having to dip into that commitment. So we would use up that least restricted first, but this is not the case. We do have a plan in place. Cabinet is working through that plan, and it's working quite effectively. Yes?
Without the stabilization plan, why do other sources go up?
Because so whatever is being borrowed from these funds, that's what causes that to increase.
No.
We're basically borrowing from a different fund, putting it into this fund here.
Right, but if you look at the no stabilization plan, it's $25,797,000.
Yeah, because we've borrowed all of it at this particular point. We've borrowed all of that.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, as far as the combined unrestricted and restricted together, really the thing to focus on here that's different from that last slide is the legally restricted amounts. And the reason why this continues to decrease, it's okay. It means we're spending down our one-time balances before the deadlines cause them to be paid back to the state. We're going to use those funds first. So I've showed this slide once before. This is kind of a comparison to where if we didn't have declining enrollment going on compared to where the fact that we do have declining going on. And the reason why we really need that stabilization plan to get to that new norm, which is that big giant yellow dot. So the yellow line that goes up at a kind of a steeper rate, that would be the line that if we didn't have declining enrollment going on, that I put into the LCFF calculator if everything kind of remained the same, but the COLA continued to be as it was for the governor and whatnot, that's what we would look like. Unfortunately, we do have the declining enrollment, so this is what our LCFF, the orange is where our LCFF looks like. So that dotted red line kind of shows you where we were at in 23, 24, and at what point we're really going to catch up. So we're having some pretty tough years here. 24, 25 was the largest dip, as you can see. 25, 26 is the next largest dip. We're going to be looking to start increasing revenue, but we still won't even catch up to 23, 24 until after 26, 27. At least that's how the projections are working out right now. Understand that one? Okay, good. And then I kind of preach on this stuff all the time, so I'm really not going to go over it again. These are kind of the 10 areas that are in this report that make every kind of those unpredictable sort of things, but we do the best we can to make sure that we have those in the budget, and we are working through each of these issues as we, I guess they're not issues, just the cost of doing business, if you will. And just a reminder of our stabilization plan. The main focus of the plan, particularly moving forward, as vacancies come about, Cabinet really analyzes those vacancies, and that's super important. We have looked at, we're also looking at programs as well, and trying to avoid any more across the board sort of reductions like we did this year. We reduced 10% from all of the site and department budgets. We will be reducing 5% of the department budgets this next year, but we're going to leave sites alone. And we're constantly looking for other ways that we can reduce funding, certainly through our services and contracts and any other way that you can think of, let me know. We also may want to take a look at our revenues as well. We have, kind of a disproportionate amount of students going to Desert Sands and then coming to us. So we might want to take a look at our policies in that regards. And it's not that they can't do it. It's just that we can have interviews and stuff before they do it, and not just an automatic yes, if you will. So, but that's something we can look at if we need to. So I do recommend a positive certification. We are working through that stabilization plan, like I said, and it is being effective. So I do like the way things are going for us. And it is, like I said, we are able to pay our bills, and we have a positive certification. That's what you'll be voting on. Any further questions? Monica, what was it? Sorry, I was trying to keep it under 15.
Just real quick. Am I on? Yeah, okay. Normally you have the stock information and things like that up front. You just didn't have time today?
Yeah, I didn't think I would have that much time. I knew there was going to be like 6 presentations tonight, so I can send you all that information through what the school services did at the budget workshop. But also, the other thing to keep in mind is that the information I get is all the way back from January, and we've had a lot going on since January, even with the stock market and stuff. So I apologize for that. I know you like to see that. But I just didn't think I'd have enough time for all that.
No, you did a great job, Joe.
Thank
you. Good job.
No, another question? Okay, now we are ready to vote. Please vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passed. And now we move to item 16B. Approval of operational expectation monitoring report governing policy OE 12 facilities OE 8.1. Simon.
Okay. First, I'd
Wait,
like to thank.
Simon, sorry, we have to make the motion on second?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Can I have the motion, please?
Okay. Now we can do the discussion, right? Okay. First, I'd like to thank Julie Arthur. She's in the audience right now. Greg Shoemaker and Celine Ahumado Tirado. Got that right, didn't I? So they're the three that really work on, and also Tony Carrillo, that work on this report. So it's not just about facilities, it's also purchasing and procurement and maintenance operations as well. All right, so we believe that we are in compliance with all these policies. Keep in mind this is for 23-24. There's 13 different sub-policies here, 1 through 7. I'll just go through quickly here. Develop and implement long-term facilities plan, master plan. We do have that in place. The last one was approved June 19th. And we are going to be approving the new one here in just a short time, either the next board meeting or April. Okay. Number 2, land purchases based on enrollment patterns. We have not had any land purchases. The enrollment hasn't changed much except for up here in Desert Hot Springs. We might be looking at that in some future years here. Attendance boundaries, same thing. We might be looking at the attendance boundaries up here in Desert Hot Springs for some of our elementary schools. But for right now, we have not had any attendance boundary changes. Number 4, factors for land purchases and new construction. We follow state guidelines and recommendations for all land purchases and construction projects. But again, there was no land purchases or new construction on that land in 23-24. Environmental sustainability measures. We have a checklist that we follow for each and every project. And so we definitely follow that. Number 6. Use of technology. The Director of Technology signs off on all projects that we do through facilities and matching it to his technology master plan. Number 7, the superintendent does not authorize change orders or cost increases. That's because the Board of Education authorizes all of those. Number 8, identify unsafe and in need of repair facilities, and then correct the conditions. We get random inspections. I'm so sorry. There you go. Number 8. We get random inspections on the Williams Act through our COE, and we also do our own inspections to make sure everything is safe. And anything that does need to be repaired, we put in work orders based on those reports. Number 9, create and update a yearly preventative maintenance plan. That is done each year. It was updated in 23-24 and every year by the Maintenance and Operations Department. Number 10, clean, safe, and properly maintained facilities. Not only do we have the facilities inspection tool, commonly known as the FIT, but we also have our work order system and our safe school plans that each of the schools do as well. So our maintenance operations department deals with all the work orders, making sure everything is clean and safe, and then the safe school plans through Alex's department and making sure that all the sites are updated on those plans. Develop and administer facilities use guidelines. Those guidelines are updated here and there, but they've been pretty much the same. As we go through that, the facilities use is able to be used as long as it's not in contradiction with anything that is going on with the school. And that brings us to number 12, the Civic Center Act, followed use of facilities. We had a lot of requests for our facilities. 12.6% of the facilities use days requested were actually denied in 23-24. But they were for reasons that included conflicts with other student functions, instructional programs, maybe even safety concerns, but there was no unreasonable denials for public use. All right, 13, project the life cycle of cost and sustainability associated with capital decisions. Not only is this handled through our maintenance and operations department for things like flooring and painting and HVACs, but we also do it through our purchasing department for things like vehicles, and then our technology department for non-capital equipment, purchasing department for furniture as well. Number 14, the superintendent may not build or renovate buildings. That's because it's the board's decision to do so. The board authorized all budgets, purchases, bids, and change orders, either through approval or ratification. All 23-24 bids were board approved. And then number 15 is a new one. New construction, modernization, or rebuild projects, including temporary student housing, may not begin until the Board of Education votes and gives a final approval. So this policy was actually developed as a result of what happened in 23-24 with the Landau and Sunny Sands projects, where temporary housing was placed before the board knew what the final bid pricing was. The projects were actually approved to move forward, but we wanted to make sure that not even temporary housing was going in before the board. As a result, the facilities team has put together a communication plan with the board to update the budget during the design, review, and bid process. So we feel like that makes it all of this in compliance. This is kind of our procurement and how we procure things each year depending on the price of the goods. Starting in 24-25, the informal limit that was 60,000 is now going to go up to 75. And there's a typo here. It's going to go from 200,000 to 220,000 for formal bidding. We are a CUPCA district, so this is what allows us this type of minor, informal, and formal bidding. So, any questions? All right, thank you. We feel like it's in compliance, so hopefully the board will sign off as in compliance.
Okay, no more questions? Please vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that one was a little weak, but we'll work on that.
And now we move to item 16C, approval to award RFP number 2502, Student Transportation Services, OE 6.3. Can I get a motion to approve item 16C, please?
Move.
Okay, we have motion.
Okay, since this was a pretty big RFP that we went through, I wanted to give you a little bit of a presentation from our Director of Purchasing, Celine Ahumado Tirado. She's going to go through what the bid process was and the evaluation process. And then we'll hear from Abdul Bouzroud. He's going to discuss, he's the coordinator for transportation. He's going to discuss the Zoom overview and the implementation plan for Zoom. So it'll give you a little bit more confidence in your vote for this new undertaking that we plan to go through.
Thank you, everybody. So as you mentioned, this is a very big process that we went through. We started off working with the transportation and the purchasing department. We got together and we talked about the scope of works, what were the needs for the district. The RFP was posted and remained open for 4 weeks. And in that time, I threw some numbers up there. The project was viewed 1,068 times, meaning we had very good interaction with our vendors. We were visible. We had a lot of interest. The project was visited and reviewed by 26 firms. There were 77 questions that were submitted and answered, and I want to thank Abdul for that because we essentially sat down for an entire day and just started answering all these questions because we wanted that transparency and interaction with our vendors. Ultimately, after the whole process, there were 2 vendors who submitted proposals, our incumbent vendor, which is First Student, and Zoom Services, Inc. So this evaluation was broken up into 3 phases. Phase 1 was a department evaluation. We took into account the departments that most use our transportation services. So we worked with special ed, we worked with our expanded learning, and then we evaluated their proposals, their written proposals. Phase 2 was a technical evaluation that was completed by our transportation department, essentially making sure that whatever the proposals were submitted matched our scope of work or met our needs. And third was our vendor interview, and that was conducted by our executive cabinet. We asked our vendors, bring us a presentation and tell us why you are the best. Explain to us why you are the best at collaborating with us and how you're going to take us into the future. Convince us. And that's exactly what they came in and did, and we did a Q&A with them. So as a recap, There were 3 phases of this evaluation. We had a total of 8 evaluators. We had 7 different departments working with us in Tangent. And all 3 evaluation panels, all 3 phases, the request or the awarded contract was for Zoom Services, Inc. And to tell you a little bit more about why Zoom Services was selected and all the great things they're going to do for us, here is Abdul Bazrood.
Celine, before you leave?
Yes.
I have a quick question.
Of
And I don't
course.
know if you have an answer to this, but we had, what, 26 vendors visit and look?
Yes.
And we only got 2 proposals?
That is correct.
Do you have any idea why?
Yes, we wanted to do a full contract, meaning that everything from our white fleet to our buses to our field trips, everything was going to be all incumbent. Yeah, and special ed. And so we wanted one company that we would deal with, and they would be able to provide all those services. Not a lot of companies could do that. There was at least one vendor that said, I'm not sure I can be successful out here because of the geological issues and because we don't have a presence. So that's the reason why we sat down and essentially answered these 77 questions, because we did want to make sure that whoever came to the district was going to be successful.
Thank you. And I didn't see, I don't know, maybe I missed it. How long was this process? About how long did it take?
How long did it take us? A little bit. Yeah, it started back in October, but we did some preliminary. So I would say around 6, 8 months. That's all right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll answer this later, but how many different districts does Zoom Services contract with? You're going to answer that? Okay.
Good evening, Board President, board members. Thank you for the time. My name is Abdul Buzrood. I'm the Coordinator of Transportation. First, I would like to thank Ms. Celine Almada Tirado, our Director of Purchasing, for making this RFP so seamless, and her team. And just to give you a brief overview, okay, I guess I'm ahead of myself here. Okay, hopefully it stays. So Zoom is a fairly newcomer to the school transportation business since its foundation in 2015. Zoom Services took over or provided service to over 130 school districts across 14 states. They did hire more than 2,184 bus and van drivers and over 500 bus monitors. Despite its young age, we can see here that Zoom Services did take over much larger transportation operations. As we can see in this slide, they took over the LA Unified School District transportation contract, providing 450 routes since 2022. Also, they have partnered with San Francisco Unified School District back in 2017, providing 205 routes, and most recently took over a portion of the transportation contract at the San Bernardino City Unified School District with 175 routes. San Bernardino Yard, which is the one we have visited along with our executive cabinet to collect more data and have our questions answered. So what Zoom Services is offering is a zero shortage transportation operation at Palm Springs. In fact, Zoom is claiming they have zero shortage across 100% of their yards across 14 states in the U.S. territory. So our projections for next school year indicate that we will be running around 73 home-to-school routes. Zoom Services is engaged to offer 80 drivers. That includes the 73 drivers needed plus 7 standby drivers, and 23 bus monitors, which includes the 21 needed per contract plus 2 standby monitors. That represents 10% of the workforce on a standby position, so we can deal with call-offs and or meet last-minute requests from our departments. So A fully staffed operation ultimately translates into a reduction of the instructional minutes lost due to late buses sometimes, an increase of the on-time performance of all the routes, the ability to take over or cover all the field and athletic trips without hindering the home-to-school operation. And that is really important. This is one of the daily challenges we currently have. Also, it would help in reducing the use of much more expensive charter services by having just one provider take over all of the field trips because of the abundance of drivers. And lastly, we'll be able to expedite some of the special education department requests, like the addition of bus monitors. By having those standbys, we'll be able to meet those requests in a timely manner. On the technological level, Zoom is engaged to provide PSUSD with an AI-driven routing software, which means the software will provide PSUSD with the optimum number of routes needed to first be financially responsible and be able to provide transportation to all of our qualified students. They will provide tracking or bus tracking tools for administrators, parents, and staff. Their buses come with their cloud-based camera surveillance system, which makes it, which will expedite the the process of uploading video footage for investigation purposes by our staff as needed. All the bus behavior reports, which are referred to as bus tickets, will be digitized, which will allow the drivers to instantly share those reports with all the key staff and Zoom administrators and tell them share on what's happening on the bus. One feature that I really like here is that their services come with a field trip platform, which will be provided to our staff, which I mean by staff, our teachers mainly, which they can create, they can determine the availability, and they can come up with a cost estimate for transportation before even submitting the formal form to transportation. That will reduce a lot of time for our informed K-12 form, which is one of the longest forms we have here at the PSUSD. Also, one important note is that shortly after launching after the school starts of next school year, we'll be able to launch our very first bus pass system, which will allow parents to track the movement of students getting on and off the bus. And lastly, their parent app comes with a feature where they can rate each and every single trip their kids have, just like an Uber app if you want to look at it that way. And there is a dedicated customer service team which will follow up with the parents who gave a 4-star or below rating within 24 hours to address those parents' concerns. So this is the proposed yard by Zoom Services. This yard is located on the corner of Williams Road and Mesquite Avenue. This is a 4.5+ acres facility which will hold an office building, a maintenance building, and a bus washing station, as well as holding up to 94 school buses, which is slightly more than what's needed for the 25-26 school year. But this is in case we have any route expansion, as we're always looking to expand our services to transport more students. And it's also strategically located where all the drivers, they can access easily the routes that they are covering. So this is the implementation timeline provided by Zoom. Everything is, of course, pending board approval. The immediate action after board approval would be the hiring process, which they will start. Eventually, they will start hiring from the existing pool of drivers and monitors to save time. There is a clause, actually, that they will be sharing with the drivers, the current drivers of the incumbent, which is they need to finish the year in a good standing, because their commitment is to the students first and then to the company. So if drivers, they need to finish their year, regular school year, ESY or school or summer school, and then be hired by Zoom. After that, in the month of May, the proposed location will be secured, will be leased by Zoom. After that, the delivery of vehicles will start in May through July. The vendor actually, and for the board information, they have secured production slots with 3 major bus manufacturers, which they have provided their letters of engagement to PSUSD to deliver the needed vehicles by contract between the months of May to July. In the month of June, there will be the transportation coordinator will be working with the vendor to create the routes for the new school year. By July, we're going to have a fully operational yard, and by July 28th, it is the date selected by the vendor in which the drivers will conduct their dry runs. What that means is that they will be fully staffed at that time. Drivers will have bid their route and awarded those routes, and will start dry running those routes to compare the time points or the real time points with the routing software time points. Throughout this whole process, there will be a dedicated implementation team that's going to be in contact with key administrators at the district, providing us with implementation updates. That concludes my presentation. I hope I provided the board with pertinent information to help you decide and hopefully support the decision of the administration on award the contract to Zoom. Thank you for your time.
Question from board members?
Real quick, the routing software, I take it it's sophisticated enough to be in real time for like road closures, accidents, things like that? The routing software?
That's correct.
Okay. Yes. And then will all our buses be brand new or a certain percent?
In the contract, it says that they'll all be 2025 or newer. They all will be gas, but they only like to keep their buses about 5 years. We'll work with them on possible electric implementation. But right now, the technology for electric buses really isn't there for this heat and for the distances that a lot of our routes have to go. So the technology really has to get much better for us to at least get a full fleet of electric.
Well, if I may suggest, you might talk to Sunline, how they've implemented their hydrocarbon buses. That works pretty well. Something to explore, that's all I'm offering.
Yeah, over the period of their contract, we'll be working with them on particular grants and stuff, but we'll take a look at that.
I had another question too. Are we going to be looking to hire local, or will they be bringing their staff from their location?
So they're looking to hire local, but in order to maintain that 100%, if they have to bring some in from the San Bernardino yard, they will. They've made those promises to us because they're overstaffed in that yard and a few of their other yards. But they plan on hiring local.
Okay, so our local people have an opportunity to apply and different things for these positions. Are be aware of it?
It'll be coming up here when you haven't even awarded the contract yet. So.
But I'm just asking.
Yeah. So we knew this was going to be a big undertaking, a big deal. But we trust Zoom to take this on in San Francisco. I think they said that they had like 1 month before from board approval to get those routes going, and they took that on and still did it. So they're very selective about the districts that they choose, and they don't get into a commitment unless they know they can actually fulfill that.
Are the buses
Can I
air
just share-
conditioned?
Can I share something with the board? Just a quick example. Actually, San Bernardino City, they awarded the transportation contract to Zoom in the month of March of 2023, and by July of 2023, they were fully staffed. And actually, the board, their board member, decided to award an additional 55 routes the following year, just because they saw how fully staffed the vendor was. So they awarded an additional 55 routes for a total of 175 routes.
Yeah, to another question, maybe you already answered partially. The research about this company, the all services that they guarantee is coming from them, but also the receipts include to ask another school district if they are happy with the company or something like
Yes.
that.
We did. We sat down with San Bernardino City Unified and talked to them about that, interviewed them, and they were very happy with their services. Yes.
Okay.
And we also did, we also contacted the purchasing department as part of their review. Contacted, much like we would do through HR, contacted their all the references. Thank you.
I'm sure that, thank you for all of your hard work, Celine, and all of the departments working together in this process. And I'm sure you spoke about safety records and how the record from Zoom and accidents and types of interactions with equipment and kids versus first student. Could you comment about that?
I'm not going to get too much into first student, but we can comment a bit on Zoom. Yes, we did have interactions with their safety record through their references as well, talking to them. They have a very excellent safety record, mainly because they use new buses, and they have a very formidable training department. They have quite a bit of trainers per yard, and they're constantly doing professional development to make sure their drivers are up to date with student discipline, with new current laws, with how to handle the bus and deal with those safety procedures like crossing the students at the right times and so forth. So, but mainly as far as the driving, a lot of it has to do with just newer buses and stuff, and all the safety features that are on those newer buses.
They actually have a safety or accident rate of 0.01%.
Oh, that was on one of your slides, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that was, yeah. I think it was on the first one there. Yeah, 0.001 accident rating.
When they say about to secure the yard, one means that there is guaranteed that the owner of that yard is holding.
Yeah, they're holding it.
The lease.
They've already submitted their deposit, and they're ready to go on that yard. We've been by there. It's going to be a nice facility.
Thank you.
Yeah, Celine's kind of talking in my ear here, but that was before they even knew they were going to win the bid. By the way, they're here tonight. So
Okay. Okay. Another question? Ready to vote? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Welcome to our district.
Okay, now we move to item 16D. 16D, approval to award RSP number 25-03, district-wide multifunction copper fleet, OE 6.3. Can I get a motion to approve item 16D, please?
Move for approval.
Second.
Come on.
And any questions? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 16E, adoption of resolution number 2024/2025-24, amending policies and guidelines relative to Citizens Oversight Committee for General Obligation Bonds approved pursuant to Proposition 39 and related law, OE 8.4. Can I get a motion to approve item 16E?
So moved. Second.
You have any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 16F, approval of initial proposals for successor agreement from Palm Springs Unified School District, PSUSD, to the Palm Springs Teacher Association, PSTA, OE 4.9. Can I get a motion to approve item 16F, please?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 16G, approval of initial proposal for successor agreement from Palm Springs Teacher Association, PSTA, to the Palm Springs Unified School District, PSUSD, OE 4.9. Can I get a motion to approve item 16G, please?
Move for approval. Second.
There any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 16H, approval of certificated and classified employees transition, OE 4.4. Can I get a motion to approve item 16H?
Move for approval.
Second.
Then any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. In this one, we will vote for, in one vote, item 16I, 16G, J, 16K, and 16L.
I move it.
Second.
And I don't know, would like to ask, anyone would like to put any for discussion? No?
No.
Okay. The motion first and second? Okay. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. That's it. Item 16M, approval of comprehensive school safety plan for 2024-2025 OE 11. Can I get a motion to approve item 16N?
Move for approval. Second.
Any questions?
No.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 16N, approval of expulsion case 2024/2025-030, recommendation and finding of facts and conclusion of law, OE 11. Can I get a motion to approve item 16N, please?
Second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. Item 17, we vote in one vote, superintendent consent item. Would anyone would like to put an item from discussion or review? In this motion, we will vote for item 16A, 16B, 17A, 17B, 17C, 17D, 17E, 17F, 17G, and 17H. Can I get a motion to approve items 17A to 17H?
Move for approval.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 18, board consent item. Item 18A, approval of meeting minutes for February 25th, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I'll move it. Second.
Any question? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 19, suggestion for future agendas. Do any board member have suggestion for future agendas? No? Okay. Item 20, setting of the next board meeting. Our regular board meeting will be held March 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Item 21.
Wait, we also have a special board meeting on the 18th.
It's not here.
No. Just announce it.
Yeah. Also, we will start a special meeting for next Tuesday. Yeah. Okay. March 18 and 4 o'clock. Yeah. Item 21, debrief. Any debrief from board members? No. Item 22, can I get a motion, adjournment? Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move.